To get started, what you'll need to have is a couple of applications installed on your Android device. So you'll need a speed test, and I recommend you guys to have the fast speed test installed, and this one is by Netflix, or you can have the speed test by Ookla. Then you'll need to install DNS speed test, and this one is by Cat in the Box. Then you'll need to have a Data Eye installed, and this app is by Lotus Flare. Then you'll need to have 1.1.1.1, and this one is by Cloudflare. And the last app is called DNS Changer. Now all of these apps are available on the Google Play Store. So let's get started. So in case you are on a 4G network, the first thing you'll have to do is test it out for yourself if your 4G network is faster than 3G network in your area. And to do that, what you'll need to do is go in your settings, SIM card and mobile networks, and then under that you'll have the preferred network type option. So right now my phone is set to prefer for 3G networks, so I'm gonna test it out and see how much latency I get using these speed test apps that I installed. And now I am connected to data, and I'm gonna run the fast speed test. One thing to note is that I'm not really concerned with how much download speed I get, but it's the additional information that is included. And as you guys can see, it's the latency. So my latency is 36 ms unloaded, and the loaded value is 1.1 second. And I'm just writing these values down. And then I'm gonna change my preferred network to LTE. Now that it's connected to 4G, I'm actually gonna run the speed test again using fast and see how my latency is. Looks like it's taken a little bit more time than what I expected. So there are two main points from this speed test. One is my 4G is actually slower than my 3G network in download speed and upload speed, but also the latency is a lot higher unloaded and loaded as well. So my 3G latency was 36 ms unloaded, while on 4G it's actually 54 ms, and loaded was 1.1 second on 3G, while on 4G it's actually 1.2 seconds. And there we go. Like, one way that you can actually reduce ping is just by changing your network to 3G, which is quite surprising. So in this case, I would just go into my preferred network type again and just select 3G because it just works better. Once that is done, we can actually move on to the next step. So the next step would be to run the DNS speed test app that I mentioned initially, and see how DNS performs. And I'm gonna run it a couple of times to be sure. So it looks like Quad 9 seems to be coming out at top, and OpenDNS as well. Cloudflare is way behind. Yeah, okay. So it looks like for DNS, Quad 9 is the best service out of all of these for me, at least in the couple of tests that I ran. And I'm just gonna note down the values because I'm not sure if it's mentioned in the other app or not. So 9.9.9.9, and the S is 149.112.112.112. Perfect. And now I would open the DNS Changer app. And it actually lets me choose a DNS provider. It looks like it does not have, it does has Quad 9, and that's perfect. So once I select it, I just click on Start, and the app would actually change my DNS. And that's it. Let's try to see with these two steps that I mentioned if our internet became much more faster with lower latency. And it looks like with the initial test that I had unloaded 36 ms and now it's 41 ms. However, my loaded went further down to 966 ms compared to the initial 1.1 s, which is fairly good. Usually people lag out because they have a very high loaded latency, but we have been able to bring it slightly further down with these steps that I mentioned. There are certain other things you can do as well to reduce latency, and one of them is using the data app that I mentioned. And what you would have to do is enable the data saving mode, and then you will block out all the apps that you do not need. So let's say I don't need the downloads. I'm just gonna keep the Play Store because it's an essential. And let's say in my case, I'm gonna see if I have the games. So let's say in my case I want to be playing Fortnite, and I want it to be optimized for Fortnite. So what data I will do is that it will only allow Fortnite to access mobile data, and that means that no other application will be using the bandwidth available for my device, which is going to make it a little bit more stabilized internet connection for you. In case that doesn't work out, you can try using the 1.1.1.1 app as well. And that will take control from the Data app. So you can only have one VPN running at a time. And I'll have to disable Data. Okay, and I go back to 1.1.1 and I install the VPN profile, and it's connected. And that would be the last step that you can try to bring your latency down. So let's try it out with 1.1.1. The results are dependent very much on your location. For some people it will work better, for some people it wouldn't. But let's see what happens. So in my case, it looks like the loaded latency actually went up, and the value for unloaded latency actually went down. 0 ms is quite surprising, but it looks like for me maybe using 1.1.1.1 for enhancing my gaming experience isn't a good idea. But in case you are in countries where network providers block certain services, maybe it will enhance your gaming experience. And yeah, I do recommend you guys to try it out and see for yourself if it works or not. Thank you for watching this video, and please let me know if there are any other alternatives you guys have tried out to reduce latency for gaming, whether you play Fortnite, Mobile Legends, PubG. Thank you. Bye.